Are you ready? Stand by.
What's up, everybody? Dave Hartman from the 3 Gun Show here, and I have a special treat for you. So what you're about to listen to is 6 videos. It's the audio from 6 videos that I did for the Texas 3 Gun Championship, and I'm really excited about these because it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time, and I've finally got the studio set up in the garage, and I had a wonderful guest here in Mark Roth, and I had a great match to work with, and we put together some magic, and I think it's really good, and I'm excited for you to hear it. So listen with open ears, and if you want to check it out, you can do so at the YouTube channel, which is 3gunshow.com/TX3G2019. That's Texas 3 Gun 2019. So I'm real proud of this. I hope you enjoy it, and if you do like it, let me know. Let me know if you want to hear more stuff like this in the future from your favorite match. Let me know which match, and maybe we can make that happen. So enjoy this little segment that we're calling the walkthrough from the 3 Gun Show and the Magpul Texas 3 Gun Championship. Hey everybody, Dave Hartman from the 3 Gun Show here, and I've got Mark Roth with Roth Performance. Mark, it's great to see you, man.
How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Glad to be here.
I'm excited that you're here. We're here to talk about the Texas 3 Gun Championship that's coming up soon, and this is going to be a series of videos. We're going to go through each division, talk about the major players in that division, kind of go over their strengths and weaknesses, and see if maybe we can pick the winner of the match. What do you think?
I think it'll be pretty cool.
All right.
I'm
So
excited.
today we're going to be talking about 2x4 division.
Yeah. What do you think about 2x4 division?
So 2x4 is interesting, right? Because it's like the Swiss Army knife of 3 gun. So you've got 4 guns to play with, and you get to choose at least 2 on every stage.
Yeah, and there's like really no restrictions. I think it comes from the UML type format.
Yep.
And this is the first time they're introducing it at the Texas match.
Yes.
So I like that because it's like top fuel drag racing.
Mm-hmm.
It's straight up, whatever you got, bring it. Doesn't matter. I love that part of it.
Yeah, and what I like is like it's the best tool for the job too. So you have like a rifle, a shotgun, a PCC, pistol caliber carbine, and you've also got your pistol. And then now you have to choose what is the best to complete this stage.
And it really changes the dynamic of every stage. Now, fortunately enough, we got to go and check out all these stages that they had set up yesterday, which made me really want to figure out how to come back here and shoot it. But besides that, I can see where a lot of people will struggle with some decision-making processes because now you have 4 guns. You can use, I think, 2 on every stage have to be used. And I'm sure there's some of the stages where you might have to use all 3 of those designated, or maybe an all-shotgun stage where you got to use all shotguns.
Right.
So a little bit more gear intensive, but I think that's what makes it exciting too.
Yeah, and then you can also lean on your strengths, which we're about to talk about here. So, Mark, let's get into it. So our first shooter that we have up is Lan Wynn. So Lan is shooting 2x4 open here from Dissident Arms. So I'm imagining he's going to be rocking one of those KL-12 shotguns.
I would imagine so.
And PCC, of course, they build all their own stuff pretty much.
Correct.
So.
I'm pretty sure Land's going to show up with everything that he had his own hands on.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
He's not going to come up with. He's not one of our shotguns, that's for sure. Obviously.
So Lan's a Texan, open terrain shooter. He's well versed in long range.
Mm-hmm.
Done a lot of study under Max Michel, people like that. And now we get to see how that plays out on the big stages.
And I've shot with Land a number of times over the years, and I think Land shoots a lot like I do. I'm not the perfect technician. I'm not a footwork guy, right? So I think this falls for a match that's a terrain match. I think Land has a really good chance to open up and move fast because it's not as technical on footwork, things like that. Whether you transition fast or how quick your cheek weld is and being on target isn't as critical, and I think that's where people like Lan and I do better at big, long terrain matches because we don't have to rely on the base style match stuff that other people are really good at in football.
Right. And so contrast that with our next shooter here, and that is Josh Fralick. Josh is going to be shooting 2x4 open as well. So Josh is one of those super technical shooters. well versed in bay stages, lots of really fast movements, but not a whole lot of experience on the open terrain matches.
I think Hard as Hell was the first, like what you would consider an open terrain, long,
like
physical
stage
match that I think Josh has shot. I mean, I remember talking to him afterwards a little bit, and he was like, he had a blast doing. He wants to do more of that, from what I can tell. But
and here's his opportunity.
Absolutely, this is going to be your test, Josh, right here, because you have amazing footwork, and the footwork is awesome, but that doesn't necessarily gain you points.
Right.
It's how quick you get to the end, and obviously his shooting's phenomenal. So you can't discredit any of that part. If he gets half of the things right that he needs to on the long movement part. Being able to stop at the right tree, or get past a curve easy, or even if it rains out or something like that, the footing when you're running on rocks or on sand, or but he's definitely in the tops for that. I mean, there's no question with that.
So another distant arm shooter, well versed in that KL12 shotgun, shooting for JP. So he's got the JP PCC, has a ton of rounds through the JP PCC, and I honestly think like the PCC is just going to lay waste to the stage. Like, they're going to have some really fast times in 2x4 open.
From what we saw on the stages, if you have the PCC, you can dominate, because all those long pistol shots that everybody's going to struggle at are just going to be like half 10 splits.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're going to be 3-10s, 5-10s, and you're not even going to think twice about it. So you're going to see a lot of it.
Right, and so I think the one thing that Josh may struggle with here is going to be the long range. Not a whole lot of long range shooting in Minnesota. There's been a ton of effort put in by Josh over the years to up his long range game. Did he do enough practice?
To be honest with you, I think that might be where you're wrong.
Really?
Well, here's why, right? Under normal circumstances, a person like myself or Lan, if we didn't have the ability to shoot long range like we do, or I think Lan does, I've done enough long range over the years. I know some of those little techniques, but Josh is a tactician, so he's going to find a way to make long range work. He's going to have so much faith in his drop, in his dope, that I think he'll surprise you.
All right. Well, it's going to be interesting.
That's my prediction on that end of it.
It's going to be interesting to see how he does. Yeah. All right. So our last shooter here that we're kind of eyeballed the top three amongst several people that are involved in the match, and Mark and I discussion here. We've got Chris Sazin. Now, Chris is one of those, again, like tall, lanky, cover a ton of ground kind of guys, and maybe bays aren't big enough for him. So we've been watching a ton of his videos, and it looks like he shines in open terrain matches.
To me, Chris is one of those guys that he's very soft-spoken, at least in crowds. I'm sure around all the Minnesota boys, he cuts it up with everybody, so it's kind of hard to read him. But he's such a big guy. He's tall, he's got a long stride, he can get there quick. When it comes to all-terrain things, obstacles are not a big deal, whether it's going over logs or making turns and cuts, and
and he's well versed in matches like Blue Ridge, the Old Fort Benning matches that were big open terrain.
I got money on him too. I mean, he's definitely a good shooter. He has all the long range capability. He's been there, done that when it comes to the open terrain stuff. So he has complete confidence. Complete confidence in being able to navigate natural terrain things.
Right. So it may not even be one of these guys that takes the division, because we do have some dark horses out there. We've got Forrest Lathrop from Colorado, who actually won the Colorado USPSA Championship in PCC division. So
wow.
Yeah. So it could be anyone's game. It's going to be fun to watch. So let us know in the comments who you think is the shooter to look out for at the Texas 3-Gun Championship in 2x4 Open Division, and stick with us here. We're going to run down the rest of the divisions, and we'll be back. Thanks for being here, Mark.
There you go. Nice. It's heavy optics. I want to call it the West Coast style.
Yeah.
To me, it's not a true heavy division.
Yeah.
But
it's not like He-Man division.
It's not the Patrick Kelly heavy division.
Right. Hey everybody, Dave Hartman here, and I'm with Mark Roth of Roth Performance, and we're back, and we're talking about heavy optics division today. What do you think, Mark?
It's heavy optics. I want to call it the West Coast style, where you have You can have a magnified optic, you can have a 9mm pistol, and you can have a semi-automatic shotgun. So to me, it's not a true heavy division.
Yeah.
But
it's not like He-Man division.
It's not the Patrick Kelly heavy division.
Right.
This is
308 rifle division. We'll
Still
call it
308 rifle division.
Yeah. But as you pointed out, there's 14 competitors in this division here. So those little rule tweaks make it much more advantageous for people to want to come in and shoot it.
So typically in the heavy division, you see 5 to 7 people in there. But at the Texas 3-gun championship, because they made the changes and you can have one optic, so it can be a variable power, or a 9mm pistol and a semi-automatic shotgun, that kind of changes it a little bit, so it makes it a little bit more attractive for people to come into the game and go, hey, I'll play with that. I got a 308. I'll throw an optic on it. Let's go run. Because typically, you're pretty much using your TAC ops.
You only have to use one gear, basically.
And you're really,
one piece of gear.
Yeah, you're really only changing the rifle.
Yeah, exactly.
You're changing the rifle to your 308, and
Plus,
most people
Texas, and there's going to be a lot of long shots, so why not shoot a 308?
So you got to have a big cartridge for a long range shot.
There you go.
Right.
Cool. Right, so let's talk about the matchups here. So we've identified some people that we think are going to be players in this division, starting with Tate Moots.
Tate Moots has been shooting the traditional heavy for a really long time. And Tate goes way back to the DPMS days. He's a super solid shooter. He was best friends with Dave Neff. That's probably a name a lot of people don't understand or know, but these guys are incredible shooters.
Yeah.
And if they're coming out of the woods for something like this, it's going to be a good match.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, we have Ty Gentry in the division as well.
Okay. All right. So has anybody ever heard the name Ty Gentry? Now, we're in Texas. We're in mid-Texas. Ty is from the southern Texas area, the Triangle Shooting Sports. He's the old Benny Cooley days, Benny Hill. That guy, he can crush it. He can take anything, shoot it, and he'll kill you with it. So I think he's one of my favorites for that part so far. I'm just gonna let that slip. But who else we got? Got on the list here?
Well, to round it out, we have Jomar Villamore.
Okay,
from
Jomar
Minnesota.
Villamore. Yeah, Minnesota boy, up by me. Good. All right.
And he's a accomplished heavy division shooter in his own right. So right there is going to be a pretty good competition for top 3.
For the top 3, I think those are really the ones we got to look at and watch. And Jomar is a solid shooter, very consistent. But he's also the one that we know the most of out of the 3, because Tate Moots has been busy with work. He had surgery on his hand. Had a couple of physical things that kept him from really shooting and training for the last probably 5 years. And he does a lot of long range PRS stuff. So him coming into this, I can't wait to see what happens.
Hold on to a pistol.
Yeah.
Well, who else do we look at here?
I gotta say, there's some people within the division that I really like. They're solid shooters. I think Bill Corcoran. A lot of people. I've been spending a lot of time with Bill Corcoran lately, and he's been putting a lot of the physical effort in. And when it comes to a physical match like this, he's not going to be breathing hard at the end of these stages. Right. So I wouldn't count him out. Kyle Simek.
Kyle Simek's always a super strong shooter.
He's a strong shooter.
He's not necessarily known for heavy division, at least not when I've been paying attention, usually TAC ops, but with only the change of the rifle, he's going to be someone to contend with too.
If you think about it, the change in the rifle really is all you're doing from TAC ops to this division is managing a different recoil with your rifle. Yeah. You're going to reach out and touch in the Texas wind a lot better with that 308 than you are with your 223. It doesn't matter if you're running 77s in your 223 or not. 168 grain AMAX, it's going to get there, right?
Absolutely. Well, and then, of course, we can't forget about Bob Sanchez and Justin Morris, and as well as the rest of the field. Again, 14 shooters in this division, which typically is a much smaller division. So Magpul Texas 3-gun championship heavy division is actually looking like a fun one to watch.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, boys. That's going to be fun.
So if we miss someone that you think is going to come out on top, who's your dark horse? Let us know who's your favorite in this match. Just go ahead and comment below, and we'll see you in the next video. Mark, limited is limited once again.
Yes, absolutely. About time. So,
new to limited division this year, the young gun.
That guy would go out and he would crush. He'd beat everybody in TAC ops.
Hey everybody, Dave Hartman here, and I've got Mark Roth with Roth Performance, and we're back again talking about the Magpul Texas 3-Gun Championship, and today we're talking about limited division. Mark, limited is limited once again.
Yes, absolutely. About time. I think traditionally limited division has been stretched out a little bit.
Yeah.
And Aaron and those guys have done a great job of putting it back to what I think a true limited division is, which to me, limited is more of a tactical environment thing where the shotgun needs to be an 8+1, which is what they have. Pretty much what you would have in your cruiser, what you'd have any law enforcement would carry, something like that. Law enforcement would have an AR with a 30 round mag. I think they got a 32 round mag, so
right.
they're doing some limitations that really...
Things you can go buy off the shelf and you don't need any extensions or anything like that.
Correct. And
no couplers.
And it separates. It's a separator from limited to TAC ops. I mean, that field for the longest time.
We got to the point where the pistols were the same, the shotguns were the same, the rifles were the same, and the only thing that was different was the optic on them. And now there's actually differences again. Now the pistols you're still looking at like USPSA limited style divisions, or limited style rules, excuse me, in both divisions. But I think the shotgun differences and the rifle differences are actually going to make this a fun match.
Well, you know, one little thing to add to that is a lot of people traditionally would run limited division because they were jumping to doing something different. But I remember James Casanova, he's from your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
That guy would go out and he would crush, he'd beat everybody in TAC ops running limited division because it was such a closely related division. Now you have that separation, and really ultimately the only place that it might affect you is loading your shotgun a little bit because you're restricted to 8+1.
You just have to think about where to load it now.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's equal for everybody else. But the surprising part is that the field...
It's huge.
It's huge. And normally it's 5 to 7 people. And there's how many?
17 people in the division.
17 people.
So last year's winner was Joe Easter. Joe's coming back again to defend his title, which is pretty exciting. But we have a completely different match than was shot last year. So Joe's from Florida. He's used to the pretty close in stuff, super fast bay style. And last year, several of the stages were in the bays, right? One long range stage. This year, long range is scattered throughout. So that may shake things up a bit.
And it's a terrain match.
And it's a terrain match.
We had the privilege of going and check out some of the stages, and there's not a single bay.
No.
You're going to be running through cow patties and pastures and fields and up around hills. So Joe, you might have a little bit of a challenge this year on it, plus 17 people. Let's talk about some of the other players in there.
Right, so we have Darren Suppeta, another Texas boy, shooting limited. He's used to shooting out. Reveille Peak is like one of his several home ranges.
Solid shooter.
Good
mover, can move over terrain really well. All around, except for grabs on that end of it. So.
New to limited division this year, the young gun, Riley Croft.
Okay, Riley. This is going to be good. Now, Riley is one of those kids, he's the young guns taking off, kind of like the Yackleys and all those people, the new generation of sorts, right? Now, Riley has a great chance of doing very well here, but I think just like any young person, the maturity level, he might be, as long as he doesn't get ahead of his wheels, I think he can do really, really well.
As long as he keeps his head on his shoulders.
Correct.
So his first match that he was shooting limited division, Fort Benning multi-gun, limited division win.
Correct.
So let's see if he can put two together.
But now, I'm not going to say it as a bad thing, but I'm going to say that Fort Benning is really a bay style thing.
It's true.
So
it's very true.
Anytime you get out there and you have to stretch your legs and run, you have to do a little bit more focus on breathing control, things like that, especially with a dot at distance. I mean, the dot at distance, if you don't know your holdovers and how it is affected with the Texas wind, you can get into trouble pretty quick.
Right, but it's not just these three. Again, there's 17 people in this division, so we got to look out for newcomer, up-and-comer, I guess, only been shooting for a few years, Chad Torres, and then...
I love this guy. He reminds me of... He's a great guy, a funny guy. It's like kind of a Chris Farley type, or Chris Farley type of a guy, right? But he can move.
I'll tell you right there. Chad's been putting in the work this winter. He's dropped a bunch of pounds, and that boy can move.
Okay, I didn't mean it by the weight part. Sorry about that, Chad. It didn't have nothing to do with that. It's the mentality, the happy-go-lucky. But when you got to move, he can move.
Yeah, he can.
And that's really impressive.
Right. So then another perennial favorite, Rick Birdsall.
Rick Birdsall. Well, now normally everybody would say that would be your favorite.
Right.
And in most cases, I would say the same thing. But I know that for the past probably 8 years or so, Rick had gotten into the limited division, and it's always been 5 to 7 people. So we've got 17 people in this division now. So let's see how that stacks. And there's some heat there. So I haven't seen Rick out shooting a lot lately. Doesn't mean that he hasn't been doing the local stuff, but getting out there, stretching your legs, running. We'll see if he's gonna. We'll see how valuable all those titles that he's amassed with the amount of people in that Three Gun Nation limited type stuff, how that value shakes in. He's a really solid shooter, and I definitely would put my money on him being up there, but it'll be a little bit different for him this year. Yeah,
it's going to be an interesting match for sure. Limited division shaking out to be like a really stacked field, and definitely one to watch at the Magpul Texas Three Gun Championship. Did we miss someone? Is there someone in that field that we should be on the lookout for? Let us know in the comments below. If you think we're completely off, tell us why. Other than that, we'll see you next time at this pre-match warm-up for the Texas Three Gun Championship.
Lady Tack.
Lady Tack.
She has a lot of accomplishments, and she's worked really hard. I think this is the gal that she'll be like the Lena Michalik of the future. So I wonder if that'll hurt her a little bit.
Who knows?
She would be the James Casanova of the ladies field.
And people want to go where the heat is in the competition, and I think we've got that right here in the ladies that we're looking at.
And look.
Hey everybody, Dave Hartman here, and I'm with Mark Roth of Roth Performance, and today we're talking about the Texas Three Gun Championship and Lady Tactical Optics Division.
It's going to be good.
It is going to be good. Yeah. So this is pretty interesting. We have 18 ladies in this division, and rules are traditional tactical optics, right? So you can have a variable power scope on your rifle, USPSA limited division style rules for your pistol. Shotgun is going to be 8+1 to start, and then load up after that.
Correct.
Pretty much got to go read the rule set.
The one thing I noticed is there's quite a few women in this thing.
Yeah, so there's 18 ladies.
I'm used to seeing like maybe 10 or 9 or something like that at most matches, but apparently everything in Texas is bigger.
That's true. Well, and Texas Three Gun Championship has traditionally had this ladies division and a good turnout, and people want to go where the heat is in the competition, and I think we've got that right here in the ladies that we're looking at.
And looking at the field, there's a lot of really accomplished people in here, and that's what we're going to talk about.
Right, and we're going to start with Becky Yackley, who world champion shotgun winner, right? World
gold medal team winner.
Gold medal team winner.
France, I believe it was.
Very accomplished shooter. Several titles in pistol, shotgun, rifle, three gun.
She has a lot of accomplishments, and she's worked really hard for them.
Yes.
I think that for me puts her as one of the favorites within this.
Absolutely.
She's very accomplished at the run and gun type stuff. She does all the hard as hell type stuff. If it's a hard match, she'll go to it. I think it's really her
big
forte.
Open terrain type matches.
She's a runner, so she's not going to get winded. She's very good at the long range stuff, and she puts a lot of time into it. So it's going to be really hard to stack up against that. I will say that one thing that Becky does not have going for her here is she's been shooting a lot of open division recently, getting ready for the world shoot in Sweden? Switzerland? I guess I didn't really think about that because the last time I talked to her, she'd been out in Utah doing some long range stuff, a lot of transitional,
a lot of pistol shooting with a dot,
stuff.
So she's gonna be going back to irons.
So I wonder if that'll hurt her a little bit.
Who knows?
All right. So who else we got?
Well, next up we have another world champion here in her own right, Dakota Overland.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, how can you not? I think this is the gal that she'll be like the Lena Michalik of the future. She's incredibly good at following a plan, very methodical. A lot of times when people end up having a malfunction or something go wrong within their game plan, it ruins the rest of their plan. And I've seen her have a few issues on stages, and she just all of a sudden it's automatic right back into the same plan. Very a tactician, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, very technically sound on that end of it. So
a lot of critical thinking skills that happen very rapidly on the stage.
Yeah, and for a small frame gal, she handles a shotgun just like the best of them, and it's really awesome to watch her shoot.
Yes. Yeah. So Dakota's definitely going to be one to watch. Next up, we have Corinne Mosier. So Corinne traditionally shoots limited division. She could be just shooting Lady Tac with that 1X red dot here, so it'll be interesting to see what she shows up with.
I don't ever remember seeing Corinne use an optic.
I don't think
anything other than a one-time.
Yeah.
And she is very good with that one-time.
Yep.
She would be the James Casanova of the ladies field.
That is a good analogy.
With tack irons division type equipment.
If Corinne has a deficiency, the one thing I would say is that a lot of her training and techniques are more tactical based, like self-defense kind of things. A lot of wasted movement in checking the port and things like that instead of just dropping the magazine and rolling. So I think there is some time to be gained there, but I think there's also a lot of places in a big open terrain matches to hide those type of things where it may not necessarily come into to play that much.
I honestly have never really seen that part of Corinne. I haven't watched her actually shoot a lot of stages, but I do know that she's pretty proficient with what she does and not really a lot flusters her. So with that, I gotta say she's got a really good chance, because even though those are little issues that that may be what people would consider a flaw or whatever, right? There's so much movement within this match because of the terrain style of it. I don't think that those will be any kind of issue for her. I think it'll actually just be a part of the game, and she'll make it to the end if she gets her hits. I think the big challenge for her is going to be that long range stuff. Is she's not using a one-time? If you get that Texas wind coming up, is she really versed in
how good are her
10 mile an hour, 15 mile an hour crosswind with a dot at 400 yards? That's you're talking.
Well, we're talking shots out to 600 too.
Yeah, 40 inches of push. Do you know what 40 inches off of what size target is? That'll be interesting to see. And I shoot a dot a lot, or one times a lot, so I understand that part of it. So it's a challenge. It's doable, and she shoots that gun really well. So we'll see how that goes.
She does. All right. So next up we have Sky Killian. So Sky traditionally, not traditionally, I guess, but in the recent years, been primarily an open shooter.
I've only really known Sky as an open shooter. I remember probably like 8 years ago she was doing tack optics on that end of it. So that might be Sky's only challenge really is, the loading of the shotgun or not having multiple optics. Not having multiple optics, not really a big problem for
maybe
an open
bipods
shooter.
And bags?
Bipods and bags maybe, but she's a very solid shooter in her own right no matter what. So I don't think the rifle will give her a problem. She's an excellent long range shooter. So I think more of it's just going to be the shotgun issue.
Yeah.
If she's been practicing loading, I think she'll be fine. So it could be any one of those four, no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and again, there's 18 ladies in this division, so anyone could come up. And we identified a couple extra ladies that we thought might be in the running as well.
Amy Horn. All right, and there's a big list of people, but her name stuck out to me because of the last match we were at, the Rock Hard match. It was a lot longer than any of the stages you're going to see here, and that gal on the stage that I ran was it was probably about 200 yards of travel in slick mud, and she finished it, and she did it well, and her rifle was spot on. So, the engagements were 250, which may sound short in distance, but they were small targets, and it was raining cats and dogs and snowing when we did it. So I don't think you're going to have that environment in Texas. It might be a little cold, but that made me, when I saw the list, I saw Amy Horn, I'm like, wow, she has the ability to she could be up in that mix. I would look for that.
Right. Yeah, and then we have several other ladies. Rebecca King comes to mind. She's always one to look out for. So if we missed anyone here that you think we need to keep an eye out for, let us know in the comments. Who's your favorite? Maybe someone we said is going to be out on top, but it's going to be a fun matchup nonetheless. And watching Lady Tactical Optics Division at the Magpul Texas 3-Gun Championship is going to be fun this time around. Mark, thanks for being here, man.
Great.
Biggest division, Mark, Tactical Optics.
He's on fire when it comes to the shooting.
This is like right up his alley here. So it's just a well-rounded shooter.
Absolutely.
If he can keep the ego in check, I think he can do some damage here. Hey everybody, Dave Hartman here, and I've got Mark Roth from Roth Performance with me, and we're talking about the Magpul Texas 3-Gun Championship, biggest division, Mark, Tactical Optics.
115 people.
115 shooters. Yeah, we were going through the list and trying to figure out like who our favorites are here. It's really hard to pick.
Well, it is. And then for me, looking at 115 people, that wouldn't normally be a large class, but the Texas 3-gun championship is grown so much in other divisions. It's pulled that division down, but the traditional people that are always at the top in that division are there. So it's going to be pretty exciting.
The Sharks are swimming. So let's start with last year's champion, Tim Yackley.
How can you say anything bad about this kid? I mean, he's on fire. He's super sound. He's the type of person that's very quiet. He reminds me of my son in the fact that he just goes and does something and then plays video games. And you're like, how did you do that? Right? Tim is very good at discipline. He's excellent at executing the plan, and he's got legs like a gazelle. He can run forever and not lose breath, and he's very good at long range. So this is kind of his forte. He loves these long, hard as hell matches. Same thing with with Becky, his mom. I mean, they're really good at this kind of stuff. So it doesn't surprise me if he's.
This is like right up his alley here. So second place last year, Dylan Easley. Of course, we've got Dylan on our favorites this year. Fun fact, Dylan's dropped like 40 pounds over last year's Dylan. So are we going to see a faster Dylan this year?
You're going to see a much faster Dylan. Now, you got to attribute the new sport he's been involved with. We'll talk about that some other time, but that's been encouragement for him to drop some poundage to tactical games. And that loss of weight, he's going to be a lot faster. And I don't know if it was this match or a different Texas match last year where he was winning it and then DQ'd.
That was Vortex Shooter Source 3 again.
I mean, he's on fire when it comes to the shooting. And that match has a lot of long range, so it's very similar to this. Open terrain, so I would not be surprised if Dylan can win it. It's going to be tough against him, but I think he has every chance just like everybody else.
Right, and then of course the Texas favorite is Daniel Jurasic. Daniel's an excellent long-range shooter. In the Texas wind, with the amount of long range it's going to be at this stage, Daniel has like a really good chance of winning it. Daniel wasn't in the match last year; he was out for an injury, but he's back. And
I've only shot with Daniel a couple of times, but I had a great conversation with James Gill at SHOT Show, and we had talked about. James Gill is a very awesome and accomplished long-range shooter, and he can shoot. He does the Rocky Mountain stuff. He crushes it, and but James is a little out of health and shape like I am, so he's like, that guy. He just beats me at the long range, not because he shoots better. It's just that when he gets there, he has no recovery time from the run, and he can just crush it on the long range. So
also an excellent pistol shooter. Can't discount his shotgun skills. Just Daniel's just a well-rounded shooter.
Absolutely.
If he can keep the ego in check, I think he can do some damage here. Another person that I think is going to be one to look at is going to be Jake Latola.
I think Jake Latola has every chance of being up at the top, but I think being a Texas match, that long range is going to be the key for him, especially if there's some wind. If they have the Texas wind out and it's 25-mile-an-hour crosswind, it's changing at any point. He's one of the Minnesota boys, so they don't really necessarily deal with that all the time. So that might be the challenge for him, but if he's got it and he's on it, it's any one of those four.
I guarantee Jake has a spreadsheet somewhere, though, that...
He's engineering that one. He's got the math figured out.
Yeah, for sure. So if a solution can be engineered, I think that's it here. But with Mark, 115 shooters. I mean, we were trying to look at like, okay, so who are our other guys that we should be talking about here? And the list got really long. So go over this real quick. So we got Joe Farewell, who's been training a lot lately. This is going to be his first match that we really get to see him perform. I'm really interested to see how he's going to do. Jay Christensen's been coming up year by year, just by leaps and bounds. So
Jeremy Reed's
a fantastic
shooter. Excellent shooter.
Now a Texas resident, so he gets to enjoy the win. Jason Tilke, who's always at the top of the TAC Ops heap. Ryan Reed, who's always at the top of the TAC Ops heap.
The list goes on.
Lance Dingler. Can't forget Lance
Absolutely.
Dingler.
Lance Dingler's a rifleman.
Right, Lance is a rifleman.
So
this is Rifleman's match.
Right up his alley on that. So put your comments in, guys. Let us know who you think. There's a huge field here, and I'm sure we missed a lot of people.
115 shooters. I'm sure we missed someone.
But
wouldn't that be awesome if it was one of the guys we didn't even mention here?
I hope it is.
I hope it is too.
I don't want to take anything away from the guys that we think are going to be at the top there, but I think it would be really cool if somebody that's on the list that we haven't mentioned just kind of pops up and at least gets in the top 5 or top 4.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
It's going to be a great match either way. Magpul Texas 3-Gun Championship. We're talking Tactical Optics Division. And again, let us know what you think. Put a comment down below. Did we miss someone? Is there someone that we named here that you think is going to be the one to take it all home? going to be a fun match either way. Thanks for watching. We're talking open division at the Magpul Texas 3-Gun Championship. No rules.
This is the top fuel dragster.
Yeah.
You know, if you have it and you want to use it, you pretty much can use it. The way the Texas 3-Gun Championship is, they've opened it up and they've tried to bring the match back to the traditional roots of outlaw 3-gun, right?
So let's talk about the players in open division. So last year we had first, second, and third, Jerry Michalek, Michael Whitesides, James Darst. Those guys are all back this year. And you could stop right there and think like, oh, maybe that's going to be our top 3, but we have some newcomers.
Correct.
Hey everybody, Dave Hartman here, and I'm with Mark Roth of Roth Performance, and we're back. We're talking open division at the Magpul Texas 3-Gun Championship. No rules.
My favorite division.
Yeah.
It's the only one I've ever shot, really. So I love this division. It's fun to talk about.
Well, let's talk about the division then. So I guess let's start with pistol. So pistol, 170 millimeter length of magazine, all the 9mm you can fit in there. Dot on the pistol. You can put a dot on the slide. You can put a dot on the side mount.
You can co-witness them. You can do whatever you want. If you can fit it on your gun, you can use it. Pretty much same with rifle.
Yep. Comps on pistol too.
Comps on pistols. Rifles, you can use bipods, bags, multiple optics, whatever you want to carry around, and however heavy you want to make your rifle, and it benefits you, you can use it.
Yep.
So,
shotguns, same thing.
Same thing.
You got your Roth Performance X-Rails. You've got your box-fed shotguns, dots, scopes, whatever you want to throw on your shotgun.
Correct.
You can do drums, big drums.
This is the top fuel dragster.
Yeah.
You know, if you have it and you want to use it, you pretty much can use it.
Yep.
So that's why I like it, but it also brings a lot of problems.
Yeah, but I think there's going to be some advantage. I mean, definitely some problems, potential problems, especially in the Red Dirt or Reveille Peak Ranch. But there's going to be some advantages here in this match as well, because there's a lot of long-range shots, those bags, those bipods, all that stuff's going to come into play here.
Especially traditionally in matches, even the outlaw matches in the last 5 years, we've gotten away from being able to use a lot of open equipment. Most of the matches were designed around the TAC Ops division. So
the biggest division.
Yeah, the biggest, and it justified that. But the way the Texas 3-Gun Championship is, they've opened it up and they've tried to bring the match back to the traditional roots of outlaw 3-gun, right? So they're given positions for bipods to be used. A lot of matches we would go to for the last 5 years, it didn't pay to bring a bipod or a bag. It just didn't matter because you're shooting off a VTAC barricade.
Right.
Or you had to offhand a plate rack, or you're in a goofy position in a car or something like that. So this match is really cool because it's opening it up, and you can use a bipod or a bag. That big rock we looked at.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting shooting position. A lot of rifle targets from there. I think getting a good position on that with your bipod and maybe rear bag is going to be advantageous.
Shotgun, the all shotgun stage looked pretty cool.
I mean, gonna be smoking fast.
Capacity is going to be good. Round selection management is going to be important. They're mixing it up pretty good, so it'll be exciting to see that.
Yeah. So let's talk about the players in open division. So last year we had first, second, and third, Jerry Michalek, Michael Whitesides, James Darst. Those guys are all back this year. And you could stop right there and think like, oh, maybe that's going to be our top 3, but we have some newcomers.
Correct.
We got some newcomers.
That's the notable field. A lot of times in an open division. Now this is a pretty big field with 30 people in it.
Yes.
So there's a lot of people that are doing the crossover thing. They're coming in and dabbling on the dark side. And
you heard us talk about this in the limited division talk. We've got a lot of people that traditionally were shooting TAC Ops for 3-Gun Nation, trying to get on that Pro Series. Now the Pro Series doesn't exist. They're branching out. Dots have become less expensive, shotguns are becoming more reliable, and people are really looking to have some fun in other divisions, and open is one of those divisions.
But with more equipment becomes more failures. So this is where it's going to be interesting. I've been doing this one for a long time.
Tell Mark shot a lot of open
division. I've seen it all when it comes to this.
Yeah.
Now, having Jerry winning it last year, who was in second last year?
So last year was Michael Whiteside, second place, and James Darst, third place.
And those three could very likely be
Yeah.
in the same position, but the other people.
All three of those people are well accomplished at shooting open terrain matches like we're talking about now.
They have a lot of experience
Yes.
with managing their equipment.
Yes.
Right, and I think that's super important, especially in the open division. You have dots to deal with, zeros to deal with on dots, cleanliness of your guns, especially shotguns. A lot of them don't like to run when they're dirty. You have, 2 optics on your rifle, bipods, bipod height, what type of bag you're going to use. So there's a lot going on there that
Right.
people don't think about. Most people are like, hey, I want to go to open because it looks so easy. And no, it's not. There's a lot of other challenges there that you don't even think about when you're in tack irons or tack optics.
Got to be your own mechanic in open. So let's talk about the other folks that are going to be shooting open division here that are coming in that we identified. So first off, we got to talk about James Gill, very accomplished tac op shooter, been around the game for a long time, feared in tac ops, now running open division.
Phenomenal long range guy.
Phenomenal.
Without a bipod or a
Yeah.
bag. And now he has that and positions to use it. So that's going to be big. I would expect him to do well if he can manage the equipment well. I'm gonna say that. Trust me, all these guys coming in, it's going to be that number one thing. If their equipment is dialed in, they know exactly what to do, ammo selection, how to manage that stuff, they could be up at the top of this one.
Right. And another one of those people that's crossing over, traditionally a tac ops and tac iron shooter, now open division, Adam Maxwell.
AMAX.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you think he's got it dialed in? Adam is at the range is a quiet guy.
Yep.
He's all about doing business and getting the job done, but has he done his homework?
He has.
I would expect
I think
he has.
so. Adam is one of those
Yes.
methodical. Go to the dojo by myself. You'll never know how much I'm training shooters.
So he's like he's the Jake Latola without the engineering spreadsheet,
Right.
right?
There you go.
Perfect.
There you
So,
go.
good,
Yeah.
good.
So I don't think you can count Adam out of this one. I do know that Adam, serious, fierce competitor, really wants this. Next up, we've got Mark Zebart. Mark Zebart's a Western shooter, Air Force team, open division. Mark is tall, cover a lot of ground quickly. I think Mark's going to be one to tag with here.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Mark is a lot like me. He can move ground quick.
Yes.
I don't think people give him enough credit. Out in the West, he smokes it out there. Now, the long range running, people would not think that he would be good at that traditionally, but I've seen him at a lot of matches like Blue Ridge. He's done Blue Ridge many years. FNH, which traditionally back in the day had a lot of long stuff. He always did well there. The biggest thing for him is, as he started in open, like a lot of people, he ran through a lot of equipment issues, but I think he's got that all figured out now.
Good.
And
That'll
if
be
it's
key.
if it's old hat to him and he doesn't have to stress out about equipment thing, but he's got a system down, I could expect to see him right at the top
Right.
pretty easily.
Yeah. So the other thing is Mark is a really, really intelligent individual.
Yeah.
So if there's a mathematical way to attack a stage, like he's our Jake Latola of the open division. We keep referencing Jake here, but I
Yes.
think if there is like an advantage that can be figured out through a chalkboard, I think Mark can do it.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, we have Brian Nelson. Brian is an accomplished shooter in several divisions. It's always a coin toss. Do you see Brian in open? Do you see Brian in tac ops? He does pretty decent in both if he can keep his game together.
For Brian, it's going to be the equipment thing. Unfortunately, at Rock Hard, which was raining and muddy and really long, he had some issues, and it was like, welcome to the dark side. I mean, he was like, so this is open.
Yeah.
And like, yep, this is open. He had some rifle malfunctions that were just unheard of, but now that match, I don't want to talk about that match, but the scenario is you got a really cold environment, you come from a warm environment with your rifles, they just didn't have it tuned right. Same with I think his pistol had some little bit of problems, but that can really get in your head, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, once that stuff starts happening and it's out of your control, everything goes downhill from there, and only the people that are really strong or understand the process will come back from that real easily. And that's why I'm putting more into Mark Zebart on this one than Brian Nelson if Brian doesn't have his stuff squared away.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so that rounds out our top for open division. There are 30 competitors here, so if we missed someone, put their name in the comment below. Let us know who we missed and why you think that they might be someone to look out for. Mark, I'm really excited about this. Open division is going to be awesome. Tack irons is going to be awesome. Tactical optics is going to be awesome.
Yep.
Lady tack has some great competitors. Every single division has great competitors in it, and it looks like Texas 3-Gun Championship is going to be one to remember. Mark, any thoughts on the match?
I wish I was shooting it.
Yeah.
I mean, I came down here, you asked me to do this. I happened to be at the Reveille Peak range. I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, I want to go look at the stages. Aaron had been around, and I got to say, Aaron is doing a really, really good job of bringing the traditional thought process back to 3-gun and the crew. You know, with the divisional changes, having the range officer match be separate completely than the actual match, which is really cool. So there's the competitive equity is 100%. It's not, there should be no doubt.
It's not competitive equity with lip service either. It's actually competitive equity on paper.
Yes.
You can look at it and see like, yes, this is going to be a fair match.
Randy Luth used to do that with DPMS Trigun back in the day. There was always a separate match for the ROs, even though they were scored at the same within everybody. It had RO next to it, and they were pulled from that. So, you know, those are the kind of things that he's doing that's a little bit different than everybody else does. And it makes it a much more enjoyable product for the people that are spending a lot of money to come down here and play. And it's such a long range thing. I'm thinking, why am I not shooting this match?
Come shoot staff with me.
I want to. He's like, so I did look at the stage and I'm like, I might have to come back and do this. And he's like, well, you can't shoot the match because you saw on the stages. I'm like, I don't care. I'll just shoot for nothing with the ROs, just for fun. You guys are really going to enjoy it. I've never shot the match, but it's going to be on the top of my list for next year for sure. So,
good to hear.
Absolutely.
So this is one of my favorite matches of the year, which is the reason I wanted to work with Texas 3-Gun Championship. I'm totally biased. I realize that because I'm working with them. But Mark, you can back me up on this. Was I not giggling when we were walking stages?
Oh.
Like, I cannot remember the last match where I walked stages and thought like, oh my God, this is going to be so much fun. Usually it's like, okay, cool, I got the lay of the land. But man, walking the stages at a Reveille Peak Ranch, like I was a big smile on my face. I'm pretty excited at the stages the guys have put down the crown.
For me, not knowing what last year's match was like, and you're telling me it was a Bay style match, but as we were driving around with Garrison, looking at the stages, to me it looked like Fallen Brethren. And I know that wasn't, I don't want to compare it that way, but if you knew Fallen Brethren, you loved Fallen Brethren. You had the rock with the long range, you had the windy trails through the bushes and stuff, and then shooting over the rivers at targets. It's very much like that feel, but that feel is something that everybody loved and everybody hated to see Fallen Brethren go away.
Yep.
But if you liked Fallen Brethren, you're gonna love this match.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like they went around the entire ranch, found like every nook and cranny that had something interesting about it. Like there's a 360 area where you're shooting shotgun in, and you know you're shooting across the river twice, which is I don't know why, but just shooting across a body of water sounds awesome. I feel like that's probably illegal in my home state of Colorado, but here in Texas everything's legal, so.
Doesn't sound illegal to me.
Oh, I don't know, man. We're weird about water in Colorado.
I'm excited for everybody that's coming down to shoot the match. I wish I could be there. I'll be there in heart, but I think Aaron did a great job. All the guys there that are helping out, Garrison,
Jay, Steve, Jared.
Exactly. They're putting so much work into this, and it's nice to see that they have this stuff on the ground now, and it's 2 weeks out. Most matches do not have that ability.
And they've been building for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So that tells you a little bit about the heart they're putting into the quality of the product for you as the shooter. Yeah. So you're gonna love it.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited about this. Mark, this series has been a ton of fun to do with you. Thanks for spending the day doing this with me here.
It's been interesting.
Yeah, let us know what you thought of the series here. If you liked it, if you didn't, something we can do better next time. Do you want to see Mark move to Texas and do this with me all the time?
I don't know about the move part, but we already tried the via internet stuff, which doesn't really work. So I'll come down and hang out with you for a week, and we'll do some stuff. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, next time you guys get 4 feet of snow, just head on down here, and we'll do something like this.
Which is pretty much, I don't know, November until April.
All right, see you then. All right, everybody, take care.
If you are finished, unload, show clear.